Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to your transfer update video, guys. First things first, make sure you smash a like and make sure you subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV if you haven't done so already. And as always, people, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. And Chelsea have signed a player today. No, it's not Moises Caicedo, but it is a player from Brighton. The club have agreed a £25 million deal for Spanish goalkeeper Robert Sánchez. The 25-year-old will sign a long-term contract, medical to take place imminently. Initial £20 million with £5 million in add-ons to be paid at some point in time. And that brings a close to the goalkeeping saga this summer. Now, I fully appreciate that, it's not everybody's cup of tea signing Robert Sánchez, but, it was clear that the club followed on their words here in terms of, looking for someone to provide competition for Kepa and be a quote-unquote backup goalkeeper. Chelsea don't seem to want to operate with a clear number one and a clear number two. I always feel it's better to operate in that way, but the club don't seem to want to go down that way. I think it's clear they made a decision not to pursue a number one not because they can't afford it, but because they don't want two goalkeepers on first team goalkeeper wages, if that makes sense. And unfortunately, because of Kepa's big wages, we can't get rid of him. There have even been reports suggesting that the plan was to get rid of Kepa this summer, but because of his wages, there weren't any takers for him. So the idea to get a number one goalkeeper had to be put on the shelf. I mean, I think the plan is to next summer to get rid of Kepa with only 2 years left on his contract. He's not going to be offered a new deal. So we will therefore have to try and sell him and hope there's more suitors next summer. But Sánchez himself, 25 years old, Spanish international, got a bit of a Spanish goalkeeping contingent going on at the club now. Tony Jimenez, the goalkeeping coach, is Spanish, Kepa Spanish, and Sánchez Spanish. I wonder if that's going to bring us some sort of Spanish luck or something along those lines. But Sánchez himself, look, obviously fallen out of favour at Brighton, not for footballing reasons, but because of a falling out with Roberto De Zerbi. He's proven that he is an established Premier League goalkeeper. He's been very good in the Premier League as well. Under Graham Potter, undisputed number one at Brighton, one of the best goalkeepers in the league at that point in time. He's already proven that he still can perform to a very good level. He's good, but he's not great. I think that's a fair thing to say. It was outstanding in the FA Cup semi-final last season for Brighton against Man United at Wembley. And I think going to Chelsea is going to provide him with an environment where he can potentially go from good to great. He's shown that he's very good with his feet. He's a good shot stopper. And I think, whilst it's not what we wanted a number one goalkeeper, I actually think we could potentially be looking back at this as a shrewd piece of business by the club. For £25 million to get someone at 25 years of age who's still got a lot of room to develop, is well known by Ben Roberts, the goalkeeping coach that is still at the club, having come from Brighton. And I think that Sánchez is definitely good enough to dispossess Kepa as the number one at some point in this season. I think it's clear that Kepa will obviously start the season as the first choice goalkeeper. And, until he starts making mistakes, then Sánchez will have to hold the bench and take his opportunities as and when in the cup games that we're going to have this season. But look, I actually think it's a good deal. Long-term contract, £25 million total package for him. And yeah, look, I don't think there's a lot not to like on this deal. I really don't. It's quite cheap in this market. It's pretty cheap for a goalkeeper of his quality as well. And it's the route that the club have chosen to go down, and they look at this as a smart and cheap pickup. And I think it has to be viewed in that way. Only time will tell how good it's going to be and how it's going to turn out. But I think on the face of it, it's a pretty decent deal. In my opinion, for a goalkeeper that is clearly number one quality for a Premier League outfit. And I wouldn't bet against it being too long before he potentially dispossesses Kepa next summer. But the goalkeeping situation, I think, for me, is clear that this will be Kepa's last season at the club, and then next summer we'll look to spend big on a number one goalkeeper. But Brighton also had Sánchez available for loan as well, so it seems strange that we've signed him on a long-term contract. Which may suggest is he going to be the future number one and we sign a number two next season? I don't really know, but we've got to trust the club and hope they realise what they're hope they know what they're doing, etc. But yeah, look, it's not the most exciting signing, but I think it's a savvy signing and I think it's a smart pickup from the club, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. And like with every player that signs for the club, I will get fully behind them until they give me reason not to support them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Sánchez does. It's not the exciting player that we wanted in goal, but I think it's a decent pickup for sure. I mean, in terms of the Moises Caicedo deal, people are thinking, oh, well, this might have a knock-on effect on that. I'm not too sure it does. There were reports potentially of a package deal for the pair of them. I think those are slightly wide of the mark, but negotiations I think will now start to accelerate that the Sanchez deal has been completed. I think there's a common acceptance now that Chelsea may well just end up paying the £100 million for Caicedo. There are reports from Jacob Steinberg in The Guardian saying that Chelsea may well end up doing that anyway. But, as far as Caicedo goes, there's not really too much of an update. We're still in talks. And we're just going to have to sit tight on this one and be patient and hope that we can make that elusive breakthrough. That is for sure. So yeah, that's the main thing really. There isn't really an awful lot else to add on the Caicedo situation, but we do have updates on the Dusan Vlahovic Romelu Lukaku swap deal. Lukaku was agreed personal terms with Inter Milan on a 3-year contract with an option for a fourth. That isn't an issue. Mauricio Pochettino is open to having another striker at Chelsea, but remains unconvinced on Dusan Vlahovic. And I think that's fair. The club were offered him in July and said no then. They're still weighing up their options. They do also realise that this may be their best opportunity or only opportunity to potentially get rid of Romelu Lukaku this summer. As you'll know, guys, as I've said before, signing Vlahovic shouldn't be, the reasons for signing him shouldn't be because it enables us to get rid of Romelu Lukaku. It should be because we believe in the player and we feel that we can improve him and he's going to fit what we're looking to do. But I'm not sure if that is necessarily the case. Pochettino reportedly not a massive fan of his, and he is going to have he's going to have I forgot what I was saying just then. He's going to obviously have a large say in the matter. And it will ultimately, I think, be down to him. The fact that Chelsea are still remain unconvinced on Vlahovic, I think, says a lot. But it's also the future of Romelu Lukaku that needs sorting. That also says a lot. And, this is classic. Two teams that are trying to get rid of strikers that there's no market for and no one else really wants. I think a deal could be there. But yeah, as I said, like the report from Steinberg was saying that, Pochettino is interested in a forward, but it's unsure whether he's interested in Dusan Vlahovic because Chelsea have been surprised by the impact of Nicholas Jackson in pre-season. But then we had reports from Damarcio, the Italian outlet, last night that Chelsea and Juve were coming closer together on a Dusan Vlahovic fee and swap. So yeah, it's interesting. I think ultimately Pochettino will have the final say on this one. And for me personally, I think Vlahovic is a good striker, 23 years of age. There are positives. He's 7 years younger than Lukaku. He won't be on 300 grand a week wages. And there is room for him to improve significantly with the potential that he does have. But he doesn't particularly strike me as a Pochettino type of player. And I'm not sure how well he would fit into the wage structure currently at the club. And I'm not sure if he fits the system and what we're trying to do at this point in time. So, yeah, for me, I would be saying no to Dusan Vlahovic, but I do fully understand and appreciate why the club may look to do this deal because they feel it might be the only way to get rid of Romelu Lukaku. In other transfer news, Chelsea are due a large sell-on fee after Tino Livramento has agreed to join Newcastle. Deal could be coming up to close to £40 million, and Chelsea could be at least due anywhere between 15 to 20 million pounds of that, which pretty much pays for Robert Sánchez. So that's a little bit of good news for Chelsea there as well. Fair play to Marina and the previous regime for inserting that sell-on clause for Livramento. And we are set to pocket a large chunk of cash off the back of that one. In other news as well, Mohamed Kudus, no real update on him. But Michael Olise, it's been confirmed that the £35 million release clause that people weren't sure whether it was active or not is active and is in the contract. So Michael Olise could be available or is available for £35 million should Chelsea wish to move from him. Roy Hodgson himself has said that, Palace will find it difficult to keep hold of him if Chelsea or Manchester City come in. I think it's a good plan. I think it's something that we need to move quickly on because if Man City are interested, then we do have to get a move on. So let's wait and see what happens on that one. But yeah, I guess that's the main news really, guys, is that Robert Sánchez has signed. Caicedo, we seemingly may be getting a little bit closer. Olise's release clause is definitely active. And They were set to get a nice windfall from Tino Livramento's move to Newcastle due to the sell-on clause. So, yeah, that pretty much rounds up the latest Chelsea transfer news, guys. So thank you for tuning in. As always, make sure you smash a like, make sure you subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed I had to say, then feel free to check out my personal channel. Hits the @ in the title, and please do subscribe as I'm on the road to 5K. But anyway, guys, take care, up the Chelsea, and peace out, people.